Hey guys, and welcome back to Create Above and Beyond. Last episode we set up a little vine farm here in order to produce liquid soul, and then set up the sequenced assembly to give us the infernal mechanisms. This meant that we were able to complete out chapter 2 here. We also set up some automation for crushing wheels, which we're going to be using today. And I did also fix our resin production here. And finally we also rebuilt our iron farm here. How cool is that, by the way? With access to crushing wheels, it means that we can create gravel from cobblestone and then wash that into iron nuggets, and the iron is then used to feed the precision mechanisms here. But yeah, between episodes I've been doing a little bit of work, just trying to clean some things up. I refined some of this setup a little bit, made it a bit cleaner. So the plan for this episode is to continue our quest through chapter 3. Make sure we close our door behind us. I love that thing. So in order for us to progress today through chapter 3, we are going to have to go on a little adventure here to try to find some of those slime islands, and we're basically looking for all 3 of the different types of colours. Currently about 1300 blocks away from base, so we're pretty far out here and not having much luck so far. I think, to be fair, we have one of the colours that we found in a loot chest somewhere. I think maybe from the nether, but regardless we still have to find the other 2 colours somewhere. Oh, you know what? We could actually do with this wool. I mean, I know we can trade for it, but this is a lot faster. Might as well pick it up while we're here. Aha, look what we found just over the hill. One type of slimy fern. Might as well pick up the congealed slime as well. Yeah, 2 colours to go. Oh, this is an interesting AE2 meteor. I don't want to check out what's inside though. A calculation processor. I don't think we've got this yet actually, so that's quite nice to have. Aha! Slimy Fern colour number 2. I think just blue left to go. Oh, and this is also ender slime. Yeah, this is what we need for the slime boots actually. Aha! Look what I can see through the trees. Finally, we got our blue slime. And our last quest complete. Hello, pillager. Are you enjoying your boat there? Oh, come on. He wasn't even looking at me. Before we get started here with the automations, I am going to use some of the cobalt we found in the nether last episode actually to repair our pickaxe. I've been using the flux bore, but I keep forgetting I have it on extended mining mode, and I've destroyed one too many things, so I think I want to go back to a regular pickaxe. Alright, so the general idea, from what I can tell with these slimy leaves, each one actually produces a different byproduct. So one of the colours is going to give us gunpowder, the second colour is going to give us ender dust, and the third one is going to give us bone meal, which we then later have to use for something else. I'm not entirely sure yet. But to start farming these things, we're going to need some deployers. I think once again for this setup we'll use a windmill again to generate our power. We don't need a huge amount of rotational force for this specific setup. We are also going to need some sort of campfire or stovetop. So if we check the recipes here for the slimy fern, we can basically duplicate them by cutting them down into the slimy fern leaves, which is what the deploying step is for. I mean, I guess we could also use the cutting board for this. But then once we have the leaves, we can run this or drop this into spirit fire, which will give us the fern back. And this is a 1-to-1 recipe, so we can just duplicate this. So one of them will go back in the spirit fire, and the other one will be crushed down into blend. And then this we campfire cook, which will give us the unique resource. So I'm thinking we use actually a stove for this. Yeah, let's cook some bricks and make a stove. Hopefully this works. Alright, so as for placement on this thing, I think we're going to stick it next to our crushing wheels, since this is all part of the chapter 3 automations. And then the final assembly steps, I'm thinking that we actually put in this corner for chapter 3. So I think, as is becoming common here, I think we're going to start backwards. So we want to have the output drawers here, I think, for the 3 different types of materials. Then from there we have to figure out our campfire cooking, so... Oh, I just put it out. I guess it's on by default. So how do we actually cook stuff on this? There's no UI for this, so maybe it's a skillet we need here? Apparently the stick should work. Oh yeah, nice. And this gives us torches, cool. So I guess we'll need another 3 deployers to deploy the ferns onto the skillet, which will then be input to the drawer that's here. So as for the duplication recipe to actually obtain this spirit fire, apparently we have to have Demon's Dream Fruit. And don't ask me where this came from, but we've had this for a while. Let's just bone meal this a little bit. Alright, so next step is the crushing step. We're going to set up separate crushers actually for each of the different fern types. And effectively this is going to be a duplicate setup for each one of these things. So I'm hoping we don't run out of space here actually before we get to the end of this. But yeah, we'll have to work out power for all of these things. Probably some gear shifts and encased chain drives would be the best thing along here. But then before the crushing step, we have to deploy it with an iron knife to cut it down into the leaves, and then half of those have to be split into the fire. So I think we'll extend these belts out a couple of blocks, and then put the deployers just above here, where I think we might just have enough space to get this in here. Yeah, it looks like we just have enough space to fit this in here, so I decided just to go ahead and finish this off. And ultimately, we're making the gunpowder, the ender dust, and the bone meal. And we're up to 32 stacks, by the way, because it was it's been around 10 hours since I finished setting this up. But yeah, what I ended up doing here was actually using some item pipes. So we start with the fern, which we got from the slime island. That is then stamped with the knife to give us the leaf. And that gives us 2 leaves. So one of the leaves goes to get crushed, which is deployed onto this skillet. And as you can see here, it just pops off, lands on the depot, and then inserted into the drawer. And the other fern here ends up on this depot, which is then spit out onto the spirit fire, where it converts back into the fern. And then we have 3 vacuumulators here, filtered for each of the different types of ferns. And then from the vacuumulator, the item pipe pulls it out with a low extraction module, filtered for the fern, and puts it back on the belt to repeat the cycle. And something else I was a little skeptical of when I set this up is what happens when this is backed up, but it seems to do okay actually. It looks like the items just stop. The only trouble I had with this is I actually had to add a rotation speed controller here just for these deployers to actually slow them down. If we have them any faster, then it actually breaks the skillet, and I don't really know how to get around that, so slowing it down seemed to have fixed this. But as for rotational power, we are actually ended up overstressed, so if we come down here, I built us quite a big windmill room here and just hid this underneath, which gives us 6,600 SU. Probably means we can get rid of some of the water wheels around here. But yeah, I guess now we can actually tick off all of the slimy ferns. We've automated these. We have each of the different blends, which we'll have to pick up actually. Alright, and we have the gunpowder, the ender dust, which we'll have to pick up again. There we go, quest complete. And finally the bone meal. Oh, hold on, what is this over here actually? An automation alternative to the spirit cycle is to set up a monster spawner. Oh, okay, so I guess we could have spawned creepers, endermen, and skeletons for the bone meal. So next up, as I mentioned, we have to tackle the sand problem. We need it for 2 things. It looks like we need it for TNT here, and we also need it for our tier 1 contraptions. However, I think before we look into doing any more sand automation or the TNT, we are going to need a lot of rotational power. So I think now is as good a time as any to look into the flywheel. This little contraption here from Create is capable of generating thousands and thousands of SU. The only trouble is we have to somehow fuel this with something. But as always here, we're going to need some space, so I'm thinking we actually put it underneath this main walkway in our base. Oh no, I forgot about this thing. This is becoming more and more in the way now. How are we gonna shoot around this? Maybe we build it a little bit further down in that case. Yeah, I think honestly we just build around this thing and we'll embrace it. We're gonna make it work, don't worry. Alright, so I cleared us out a bit of a space here. I decided to make this like some sort of an intersection. And off to the left hand side of our base here, I think this is where we're going to stick our flywheels. We got plenty of space this way, so we can always... I maybe made this a little bit short to begin with, but we got plenty of space this way, we can just dig this wall out. But to actually start using the flywheel, well, we're going to have to craft one first of all, and we haven't made this yet. It's going to take some brass, which we're trading for. I'm not sure where this brass casing comes into it, but this is made in mechanical crafters. And I'm sure we have some somewhere, but I can't find them anywhere, so let's just craft a few more of these things. Oh, that's right, it's in smithing table. And I think also pretty soon here, we're going to be getting into the occultism storage that you guys keep recommending. Right, there's 15 crafters, that's way more than enough. Let's pick up some more brass from our trading stations. Oh, that reminds me actually, we need the augment to be able to auto-output the ingots to the drawer. So I think for this specific setup with the flywheel, since we don't have it automated, we're just going to do it manually over here at our workshop. So I've hooked it up to our water wheels here. I think we just need the 9 brass around the outsides. Hold on, what is this going to craft here? Nothing. Yeah, we have to actually link it all up together. Alright, now is it going to work? I put the brass casing in the middle there. Oh, and it's so slow with 20 SU. Nothing. We got nothing again. Okay, how about now? Is this gonna work? Aha, we have a flywheel. Awesome. Okay, that's one. I don't know how many of these things we're gonna make. I mean, I guess we have like pretty much infinite brass. We may as well make quite a few of these things. So to get this going, we're also gonna need a bunch of furnace engines, which means crafting from brass machines. I think it's these things. So the way I understand these to work is we have to have a furnace connected to the furnace engine, and then into the flywheel. That doesn't seem right, actually. I think this flywheel is in the wrong place, maybe. Oh, there we go. It has to be rotated. That's what it was. Oh, but it does clip into the floor. Maybe we raise this off the ground one block. But yeah, as you can see here, 16,000 SU just from one of these things, and we've built 8. The one downside to this is that we have to power this somehow. And I'm thinking we actually have two options here. We can either hook up our wood farm to produce charcoal, or we could actually smelt some of the excess kelp we have here. Both of those options I think are going to be viable. Alternatively, I guess we could also route our lava over here somehow and use that as fuel and then burn wood. Either way, we want to make it fully renewable so that we never have to manually feed this system. Let me have a think about what the best option here is going to be for us. Okay, I think I got this figured out. Here's what we're going to do. Not that, actually. This has to be one block higher. So we're going to place the flywheels 2 blocks off the ground. We'll have to collect the rotational power from the left hand side here, it looks like. Although I think we can spin this round. This belt across the floor here is going to be the output of the furnaces, which is going to be charcoal. And this is actually going to be recycled back into the furnaces for fuel. Then we'll have another belt running on this block space here, which will go all the way across the room. And this belt is going to be the input for the furnaces, which have to be on the top. So to distribute the items, we're going to place a chute down into the furnace, and then another one like this. I recently learned actually that you can do diagonal chutes like this. It's pretty cool. And then from here we can just andesite funnel in this. And so now the last belt we need is the fuel belt, which is going to be recycled from this output belt, which is going to be charcoal. And that I think has to be in this side here, so we're going to have to remove these pillars. And this belt is going to be on this level right here. There, and then one more andesite funnel to input the charcoal, and that is our 3 inputs and outputs taken care of. And I think this can be just infinitely stacked like this. So I've stacked a few more here. We now have 5 flywheels here. Although I'm probably going to add a 6th just to keep this even. We have them in sort of groups of 2 here. But as for the transfer of the charcoal, I decided to use these mechanical arms. These things are awesome. Only I realised that this isn't going to work because we need some sort of a buffer. Ideally, we place the charcoal in some sort of a voided drawer. As if this belt has something on it, then it's going to back up the whole system, right? And it means that potentially some of the furnaces will burn out. Aha! I think I got the concept nailed down here. It's very, very compact and tight. But the trouble I had was that the mechanical arm can't take directly from the drawer. Plus we have to go up a block and round a corner, so yeah, the way that we're basically doing this is, well, I have all these hooked up with the cogwheels, which go into various gearboxes to spin the belts the right way. Oh, actually, you know what, this belt here is spinning the wrong way now. We need this belt going anti-clockwise. Okay, we got it. So I did actually have to end up sticking some gearboxes right in the back there to get this back belt spinning. But yeah, the thing we have to worry about now is actually getting the wood in here, which is a problem actually. But basically, we want to have these flywheels on both sides, right? And so the wood has to somehow dodge this andesite thing, then make its way into this room and split 2 ways. I mean, we could either try to take it from this one, or just make a completely new wood farm just for the flywheels. I'm leaning towards keeping it on this one though, and maybe just expanding this if we have to. Actually, you know what? Maybe if we make this ceiling low enough, we could actually sneak it by this lift. And we'll just cover it up until it gets to this room, where we can have it central in the doorway, and then split it both ways. I really wish we had applied energistics for this. It'd be so much simpler, but I mean, this way is more fun. Oh yeah, you might also notice that the belt that used to go over the top here for the wooden slabs is now gone. I ended up moving it underneath. I think it looks a bit neater this way. But yeah, enough distractions. I have to figure this thing out with the, with the wood. Oh, look at this. This is the first pieces of wood just coming down the belt right here. This took so long to figure out. Oh, it looks like we got this funnel the wrong way. But we're almost there. We almost figured this thing out. So I actually put the roof on it, like I mentioned. Or the ceiling, I guess this is what it is. And I kept it quite low so that we could hide the belts above here. So instead of coming into the middle of this room where the flywheels are, we are instead splitting it right on the corner there where the first belt is going to be. And then the belt continues along and comes down the side of the wall here actually. These chutes are connected to that andesite funnel we just placed down. Obviously the rotation on these belts is probably way too slow actually. But I just hooked it up temporarily to this line. Take some gearboxes down just to get the belt spinning. I don't know why this thing is stopped though. We may have this tunnel on the wrong setting. What is this on? Forced round robin, I think, is what I can see. Yeah, we're backwards here. Yeah, this is on forced round robin. I don't know exactly what we want. Yeah, maybe I'm missing something here with this tunnel, but I mean, shouldn't this split the outputs between the depot and the belt? Oh, okay, now it's working. I don't know what the issue there was, but as long as we get the wood here to the side that's set up. So yeah, the question is this self-sufficient? Is this going to be fast enough? We got some dirt in here. Dirt is no good. Dirt is not what we want in these furnaces. Okay, the second flywheel just spun up, but it looks like we have these back, like, I don't think we can have them like this since they'll be spinning in opposite ways. So I think we have to actually point them all opposite directions, which is fine. I really hope though that this doesn't connect in the front so that we can actually still place it here. That's maybe something we should have tested. Oh, is it not going to let me place it here? We want it this way. Okay, no, it looks like we're fine as long as we have them all pointing the same way. And we're gaining on logs here, we're gaining on charcoal. Yeah, I think we actually need a rotation speed controller on this setup to speed up this mechanical arm. This thing is very, very slow right now. But yeah, where the wood is coming from here, this is actually our wood drawers right here. I'm just taking a chute directly from this dark oak logs. That is then just put down on this belt where we have all the wood going across here. And then this connects up to where the andesite lift is. And this is where the brass tunnel is. So yeah. So now that we have it on one side, we have to copy this over. And then also figure out how we're going to combine the rotational force and then send it up to our base. Which is the fun part. I'm not looking forward to copying this setup again. Somehow your inventory always ends up so full in this pack as well. Okay, I think all we're missing from this side is just the chutes to connect these up. Had some spillages here with the logs. I think everything else should be in order though. Yeah, we just need to kickstart this side by giving the furnaces some logs or some fuel to start this process with. You know, the amount of times I've been up and down this ladder today forgetting something. It's crazy. Yeah, we really need the storage system up and running. I mean, I've managed to keep the chests relatively organized. I know where most things are. I did lose something earlier on, but yeah, having to run back here every time we need something is not very efficient. Alright, so we need some way of hooking all these things up. So I think for now we'll put a rotation speed controller here and then route everything into this. Actually, let's move this back a block. And we'll set it up in such a way that it's easy to move this rotation speed controller. So for this we need a large cogwheel on here to connect this up. And then I think we can just connect up our cogs like this. That gets everything on the one line. And then to actually power the belts, instead of doing this thing with the cogs, I think we'll actually make use of this rotation controller. Oh, wait a second, everything is backwards now. Yeah, I think we need a few gear shifts in this setup somewhere. I think I should have, yeah, we got 2 of those here. Oh, wait a second, we'll actually need to hook these up, won't we? Yeah, because this is only connected to the end flywheel. Unless maybe we go over top here. I think maybe that would be better. Yeah, and then just hook some shafts up in between. And I think the last part we just missed here is powering this last belt for the charcoal. Alright, everything is spinning. Oh, this looks so awesome. Yeah, I think it's just the mechanical arm is not fast enough, so let's speed this up a little bit. Oh yeah, now it's doing work. Look at that thing go. Oh, actually, you know what? I think we've got another little flaw here. So I stepped away for a couple of minutes, came back and all of these turned off. So it appears they all have charcoal. However, they are not getting any more logs. And I think that is because this belt is backed up. If there's just some logs here with nowhere to go, then I don't think the andesite belt funnel will import the items. Which means that we somehow have to recycle this. I would rather not void the wood, to be honest. So, okay, you know what? I think the best solution for this is to actually just take out this section of belt and then loop it around so that all the wood just goes around in a circle. Although, will that just cause the same issue though once the full belt is full? I think this requires some more testing. Let me try this out actually. Alright, I think I got the loop figured out here, but it looks like the same issue has happened here. Unless maybe all these are full. I'm hoping that's the case. Yeah, I think that is the case. I think all the furnaces here are full, which is fine. I mean, if the wood backs up like this, that's alright. As long as it doesn't get jammed permanently. I do have to add the same thing on the other side though as well. And we're just missing this last belt on here. Okay, we got the same on both sides. The logs spin around in a circle here. Looks like we got some belt contamination here from when I was breaking some blocks, which is not going to help our system. I'm sure there's something else that's jammed here. But hopefully this is going to be robust enough. I'll keep an eye on things over the next day. But if you guys spotted anything in this build that's not going to work, then yeah, let me know in the comments. Oh, that contaminated a belt for sure. Yep, we got stone brick on the wood line. Well, I've got still a little bit of cleanup here to do. I'll do the ceiling between episodes. But we now have, what is this, 16,000 times 10 SU to work with. We just have to find a way of routing this to our base, which should just be as easy as putting a vertical gearbox and some shafts, probably along the ceiling here. And then we can send this to wherever it needs to be in the base. But yeah, unfortunately we didn't get to our sand automations today. That's gonna... Why is there a grass block? So many endermen. Anyways, yeah, we did manage to get the start of chapter 3 done with the gunpowder, the ender dust, and the bone meal. In fact, we probably should upgrade these drawers. The wood supply here is something we'll have to monitor, but we have 200 stacks here of wood. And in fact, I may turn off the flywheels until we're actually doing something with them, because right now they're not hooked up to anything, but they're still burning charcoal and logs and things. But yeah, I think that's going to do us for this episode. Next time we're going to come back and we'll tackle the sand. Yeah, then we've got all this fun stuff with... I don't even know what this is, paintballs? And then we should also be able to look into these singularities and TNT automation as well, which will be a lot of fun. But yeah, that's going to do us for today. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for some more Create Above and Beyond.